Okay, we're going to get started. We're going to go to Vicky Sparks at PLP.
Hey, could you just give me permission to record, please?
Indeed.
Cheers, thank you. Hi, Steve.
Hello, good morning.
That's on for you, Vicky.
Great, okay, I'll start now. Well, Steve, the mood must be incredibly positive after that win on Sunday.
Well, it's always good to get off to a good start, and it seems to be like, I know it's only a restart of a season, but been a long time. So, of course, you look at the levels of fitness and have you done enough? Have you done too much? Or have you undercooked them? And because it is a little bit unprecedented for all of us, and that's certainly been the case. So, well done to all my staff and of course the players, because they looked in very, very good nick, which was there for everybody to see.
How was the whole experience of playing at St James's Park, which we never see empty, do we?
No, I mean it is totally strange for all of us, of course, and I think it just goes to show, what without supporters, it's just simply not the same, And if I were reminded that, it's all about the supporters, and without them, there really wouldn't be football, because it's not the same experience, certainly, that you go into a match. But look, it's the second best thing we can do, and when we see the viewing figures for everybody concerned, then I think people are enjoying it because they've at least got a little bit of live sport to watch. So in that respect, we have to keep cracking on, and if you follow the Bundesliga like most of us have done in football, then the games, I'm sure, will get better. Because people get used to playing, and the fitness levels will improve, and what you'll see, I'm sure, is the tempo of the games get better.
3 goals to enjoy, 1 for Joe Linton. How have you seen that affect him in the short period of time that you've had since the game?
Well, you could just see him after the game, and the day after, he's, of course, because no matter what you do on the pitch, if you're a centre forward, and especially if you've got the number 9 in your back and your 40 million euros or whatever it was, then you come under scrutiny, and of course you're judged by goals. So we're all delighted for him. He wants to do well, the kid. He wants to work hard. He'll get used to the Premier League, and fair play to him. He's got a goal, and let's hope he can get a few more along the way.
And something you're getting used to as a club, this hectic turnaround, which will be the case now for the next few weeks. How are the players finding it? How are you finding it so far, very early?
Well, we're only just in. So of course, I'm sure we'll all look at the rotation, and I'm sure most teams are using the 4 or 5 subs, which were allowed, which is a sensible decision. It's we're okay. Thankfully, injury-wise, we're okay. So we'll see how they are again this morning, and make a decision on who we make available tomorrow.
And in terms of the players that were missing for the Sheffield United game, do you expect to have any of them back for Aston Villa?
I wouldn't think so. We've seen the young Longstaff. We've seen Marty train yesterday for the first time. Sean is still niggling around, and what we're doing with any muscle injuries really is just erring on caution, because if you bring them back and all of a sudden they're going to miss 3 weeks, then it's over with. So we'll just err on a little bit of caution and give them an extra few days if they need it. But certainly Sean trained yesterday, and we'll see how he is this morning.
And Kieran Clark, Florian Lejeune?
Flo is out in the grass doing a little bit. Unfortunately, Kieran, who's had an operation on his ankle, is a bit sore. So they're not joining in at the moment.
3 wins on the bounce, albeit a 3-month gap in the middle of that. You're getting a good run here going.
It seems like the start of a season, doesn't it? It's yeah. I mean, look, I've been delighted the way we've adapted to the change. We waited a long time to get there. So I've been pleased the way the players have reacted. They seem comfortable, which was important. So yeah, we've had a decent run. It's not often you win 3 on the bounce or 2 on the bounce in the Premier League. So we've given ourselves a nice platform. Let's hope we can start looking upwards and start trying to catch a few and see where we end up.
And conversely, 5 defeats in their last 6 Premier League games for Aston Villa. Does that pre-lockdown form come into it at all?
Well, you just don't know. You're hoping that you're going to get a few people fit, and Aston Villa have been able to do that, certainly with McGinn, who was vitally important to them. But it's when you look at the Bundesliga, nothing's really changed in that respect. So it's very, very difficult to judge. I mean, any team at the bottom will be looking to put back-to-back victories together or whatever to give them a bit of leeway or whatever. But I'm expecting a very, very difficult game. They've got some very, very good players, and they're down there in amongst it. But they'll be doing all they can to get a result tomorrow.
And just finally, from me, of course, they gave Chelsea a scare last time out.
Yeah, they took the lead, and as I said, it's fine margins. You know, the one thing that every team in the Premier League has got some good players, and Aston Villa have got some very, very good players, and particularly Grealish and McGinn. There's two to name, you know, two that we just slip off your tongue very, very easily. Very, very good players. So we'll have to be at our best again to beat them, but we're confident. You can see it, people bouncing into the training grounds this morning and yesterday. So it's always nice to get a good victory, but we have to start now preparing for tomorrow.
Tim Thornton, Sky Sports.
Hi, Steve.
Good morning.
You mentioned Jack Grealish there. Dean Smith said after the game at the weekend that he's been targeted by opposition. You've worked with him. Is he a player that you have to make special plans for? And given the delay to the Euros, would you expect him to potentially be a big part of England's squad at the Euros next summer? Does he have the potential for that?
Well, he's certainly got the potential, and I've certainly look when you're a player like Jack who wants to beat people, then you're going to come into people are going to get near you to try and tackle you, and that's going to be part of being a big player. And certainly Jack. I've watched his development after working with him. I think he had a big injury a couple of years ago, and I think that refocused Jack Grealish. You know, he didn't just take it all for granted of what he's got. He went to work in the gym and had, as I said, an awful injury. And since he's come back from that injury, he's never really looked back. So we know what he is. He's a delight of a lad who wants to just play football. And I wish him the best of luck apart from tomorrow. And of course, he's going to come up as close scrutiny because, you know, of the way he plays and what he is. So, you know, he's got to get used to that. A bit like what we've got with Valence and Maximum. People want to tackle him, and that's the way they play.
Is the motivation for you now to hunt down the teams above you? Is that the message to your players, or? Well,
I said it before we played Sheffield United. We've got to try and say before the weekend, Burnley were in 10th. Burnley were in 10th position, and we were 4 points behind them. So now, you know, with the games out the road, we're 1 point behind them. So yeah, we've got to try and see where we can finish. We know we've given ourselves a really, really decent platform. If somebody had told us that we'd had 38 points with 8 games to spare, then I wouldn't have quite believed it. But fair play to everybody concerned. The staff who work tirelessly, and the people from behind the scenes, and of course the players. So it's vitally important that we make sure that we keep focused and finish the season strongly, which would be good to do.
And off the field, how much are you being kept in the loop with the takeover situation? Are you having regular conversations?
I'm not really in. If I'm being brutally honest, I'm not really interested in it because I can't influence that. And you know, I'll hear something when probably you guys hear something. You know, my job is to just remain focused and keep taking the club forward, and whatever's best for the club is okay with me. My job at the minute is to make sure that we're all focused on one thing, is finishing the season off well, getting the season finished, making sure we're a Premier League club, and now we've been given the opportunity to say, can we finish in the top 10? That's got to be a challenge. That would be a wonderful achievement, and that's all I'm focused on at the minute.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Don't you, Liz?
Hi, Steve.
Morning.
Good morning. bearing in mind you're playing Aston Villa and then two of the other teams who are sort of threatened by relegation in the next couple of weeks, how hard is it going to be? Because we all know that playing teams like that who are scrapping for their very existence in the Premier League can often be the hardest games of the season, can't they?
Yeah, and I'm expecting that. I think we've got, five. I think we played five of the bottom six. So we know we're going to be in for tough games because they'll be doing everything they possibly can to make sure that they keep their Premiership survival. And it's vitally important, no matter what club you're at, to keep yourself in that Premier League, whether you're a player, manager, or whatever. It's vitally important. So we're under no illusion it's going to be difficult. And certainly starting with Aston Villa tomorrow, we know it's going to be a very, very difficult game.
In an ideal situation, would you like to keep the starting 11 that you put out on Sunday, or inevitably are you just going to have to change some things up just because the games are coming?
Well, after one game, I'm sure there'll come a time then there's going to be change. Yeah, that's for sure. Whether we have to do it tomorrow so quickly, we'll just assess that and see how a few people are today. But certainly it helps when you can make the substitutions like we made, and we made 5 of them in the end. I think that's been a really, really good rule to help everybody concerned. So we'll see. Very quickly we got up to the levels of fitness which were required. We'll see how they're recovered, but there'll be time for change. Whether tomorrow's early enough, we'll see.
Obviously, it was a very strange atmosphere for us all who were there in the ground. But I was wondering whether it might have actually been sort of beneficial for Joe Linton not to have that crowd sort of on his back and sort of free him up a little bit. And maybe that helped in him being able to score.
Maybe who knows? And I said after the game, it could only happen to me where, we win 3-0 and there's nobody there to see it. And probably the same thing for Joe, because I think all the supporters realise that, he works hard for the team. He's got to get a bit more selfish, and certainly when you see him charging into the box at the finish, then I'm delighted that he's got the goal. Let's hope, he can calm him down a bit and just let him go and enjoy the next 8 games. And slowly he'll get used to the Premier League. I've always said, that it takes time. So hopefully the goal will do him the world of good.
And there were a number of eye-catching performances. Alan Saint-Maximin, obviously, but I think the one that sort of struck me more than any was Matt Ritchie. He was just all over the place all the time. It looked like he hadn't played football for 3 months, and he just couldn't wait to get out there.
Well, I think I made a comment after the game that he picks himself because every day he plays with an enthusiasm. He drives people bonkers, don't get me wrong, but he plays with an enthusiasm. And he's a great pro, the lad. So, it doesn't surprise me that his fitness levels have been absolutely terrific. And, we changed him over a little bit at half time, and how glad we were with that. We put Alan to the right and him on the natural one to the left. So to score a goal and make a goal, we're all delighted. But then again, it doesn't surprise me, Matt Ritchie, because of the type of pro he is.
Finally, there's quite a lot of rivalry between the clubs, possibly more between the fans of the clubs than maybe the teams themselves, because I think Villa have been responsible for Newcastle being relegated at least once. Will that add any extra spice to the game?
Well, they sacked me as well a couple of years ago, so I hope there's a bit of spice. No, I mean, look, as I said, it's difficult. It's difficult without supporters there. They create that, of course. But we're just focused on one thing now. We want to try and finish the season strongly. We've given ourselves a great platform to build upon. Can we go and aim upwards? Can we go and catch Burnley, who are, as I said, in 10th, and see where it takes us?
Thanks, Don. Simon O'Rourke, Activate 20s.
Hi, Steve. Just a couple. How pleased were you with the physical side of things on Sunday? Because having seen quite a few of the games since the restart, your boys looked as strong and as fit and as well prepared as any. How pleased were you with that?
I was delighted, and it was backed up with the physical data. They got to the levels which we require, and to do it in your first game is all credit to the staff and the medical people and the sports scientists. Because it was a little bit unprecedented of where we were, and the big thing was, have we done too much, or have we done too less? So we were in sort of uncharted waters. But yeah, the physical levels of them, some of them look very good. It didn't surprise me. Certainly in the midfield area, the way they've come back, John Joe and Isaac and Matt Ritchie in particular, their figures are exceptional. So yeah, it was good. Well done, everybody concerned.
And last one, obviously it's strange. It's always going to be strange. But do you think there can come a point where people will actually get used to how it is for the rest of this season?
Well, I think if you've watched the Bundesliga, you'll see a familiar trait. That it started off a little bit slowly, shall we say. It didn't have the same intensity of what the Premier League brings. And, just when it's coming to an end there in Germany, I've witnessed some cracking games and probably got used to the surroundings that nobody are there. If we ever misjudge that it's all about supporters, then this time really tells us where it's, how important they are. Because without it, it's simply not the same. But it's the second best thing. And we're delighted when you see the viewing figures from Sky and BBC and all the rest of it, that people are tuning in and want to watch it, because let's be fair, we haven't seen any live sport for 3 months. So it is quite unique and different, but it's better than nothing, shall we say.
Thanks, everybody. We're going to say goodbye to our broadcasters at this point. Written media, please use the raise hand